Hi, my name is Isabela, and welcome to our debate. Tonight, I have the pleasure to have some people.
Hi, my name is Michel.
Hi, my name is Diana.
My name is Ximena.
Hi, I'm Isabela.
We are going to talk about the play called El Pozo de los Mil Demonios, who is a dramatic text by Maribel Carrasco, who in 2018 celebrated 30 years of being written. And we're going to start about talking about the communication codes.
I think I will start. Sorry. The most obvious communication code that I notice in the function is the body language. When the characters try to express their emotions, they use their arms and heads. For example, when they are trying to communicate sadness, they pretend that they were crying by doing like this or something like that.
Yes, I agree, but I would add to I observe linguistic code. The language used is Spanish.
Yes, as Ximena and Diana said, gestural codes are constantly shown during the play with the extension of the puppet's limbs. And for the linguistic codes, the dialogues do support the expression of the feelings by modulating the tone of the voice of the actors.
Yes, you guys have said almost all of the communication codes we can find on a piece of art. But last but not least, I could find the visual code. I think this is one of the most important of the codes on a play, and even more important when this play is for children, so they can be entertained all the time.
Okay, perfect. I'm totally agree with you girls. You already said all the codes that I had in mind. We're going to talk about what is the interpretation of the concept of the work they did with this play.
Okay. For the interpretation, I observed dark colors, smoke, slow and sad expressions. The scenery was large and the materials looked old. The context looks like ancient Mexico. It seemed to me that I showed the old things from the analyzed that it deals with the themes of not losing your identity. From the part where the girl lost her head, it is observed that what is sought is that the origin not forgotten. And I interpret this play as trying to make us see that we should not lose sight of our ideals and to keep or identify in mind.
You know what, Diana? I also noticed that about the scenery. The way the narrative is set, it reminds me a lot of a more colonial or country lifestyle, a time where Mexico was not as influenced by the Western culture and take more of its indigenous or ethnic roots into the daily lifestyle.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you in a certain way. For example, in the start, I think that they choose those colors to bring some suspect to us, the public. Also, in some parts, I thought that the play were moving the timeline really slow, and it kind of bored me in some scenes. Nevertheless, there were parts that I really admire the artistic work that they do. For example, when Jacinta finds hope for herself to find Tricantarito, that means like like himself or something like that. In the other hand, when I finished to watch the play, I interpreted the message that it is about the fear of losing herself, like in other words, the fear of not knowing who she is in the interior and her life purpose. Also, the challenges that may appear in the future.
I agree with all of you guys. All of the environment makes sense with the story of the play, and I think it's easy to address for the audience.
Me too. And does the artistic proposal break the mold of creativity of the current world perspective? What do you think, girls?
Yes, Areli, I think this artistic proposal breaks the mold because of the way they show the characters as puppets and the story that is mostly fiction, but with an ending that didn't imagine at first. Makes this play very original in a good way.
I'm with you, Michel. I also think it breaks the common conception of a theatrical performance because you don't often see actors just using their voice to tell a story and using an inanimate object like the puppet to express their body language. But also at the same time, I think it's a more traditional way to emphasize a message by telling it in the format of a story. It's just the way of the execution that makes it different, but I think it does help to engage more the audience.
I can agree with you guys because I think the play doesn't the typical play that we used to see in the theaters.
I think it does break the mold of creativity because it is not often that you see this kind of work with such a deep message, and the customs are very different from what we are used to.
Okay. What is the social function of the artistic experience? What do you think?
The main function of this is to emphasize like the importance of keeping the traditions alive, of preserving our cultural memory and our identity as a society. Because nowadays we tend to gravitate towards the modern ways of life and we forget our roots and what makes us really part of a community.
Yes, I agree with Isabela. The play is a reminder that we must not lose sight of our identify and how we identify ourselves.
Yes, I agree too. And the play show us to appreciate what we are, our family and our origin.
I think similar to you, I believe that this function reminds us where we come from, as Isabella said, our traditions and beliefs.
Okay, I'm totally agree with you, Isa, and I think that it's very important to search for this identity and to remember all those lost roots. And what about the reflection? Well, I think that this play tells us about the respect for the environment and the responsibility of it, but in the natural balance of the world through all the decisions we're making, right? In our journey in life, I guess. But as well, I think that it tells us about the danger that is forgetting those roots, and it was represented in this case with a memory, which they use as a resource to find what makes us part of something. So, what do you think, girls?
My reflection is that we must take care of our identity and not let it be forgotten.
As I said previously, I think that this place represents important to remember who we are and what we stand by. as well as not forgetting all our beloved ones, and that we don't have to judge a book by its cover.
And my reflection kind of agrees with all of you girls, but on display is that we have to take care of what represents ourselves. That's the most important thing in life.
I agree with you, but talking about more about the performance, I think that we all have a misconception of what a theater play must be, and this way of representing the performance in a different way of retelling a story, it's very attractive and engaging for the viewers.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. See you next
Thank
time.
you, girls.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.